Hello and welcome to EastEnders Weekly EXTRA, your October edition.
Yes, hello again.
Yes, what are we doing this week?
Well,
something different all the time.
This month, every month we do something a little bit different, and this month we're living in a different universe where it's
What if?
What if?
A what if episode.
It is a what if episode. What if Kate Oates wasn't the new executive producer, and by some streak of fate, Ben and I became the new executive producers? What would we
separately? I'm not going with you.
No, you don't want to do much with me, do you? So what would we like to see happen in the soap?
A few ideas we've been jotting down about what could possibly happen.
Well, you've been dreaming ideas. You wake up, for the last couple of weeks, Ben's been waking up every morning and to see him going click, click, click.
Oh no, they come in my dreams. So they might not make sense in reality, but we'll see.
Well, mine are a bit fanciful too. But anyway, so we're starting with Ben's ideas.
Yes,
first.
I've been appointed executive producer.
Mm-hmm.
So, how should I start? I think what I'll start with as executive producer, I'm going to announce 2 exits.
Oh, straight
in.
Straight from the cut.
I am. My first exit is Ted.
Oh.
His son tells him and his wife are expecting a baby.
Okay.
So Ted moves to Australia to be with them.
Well, he finally gets to go to Australia.
Yeah, and that's how his ending is. And
Makes good sense.
9 months later, Ted sends Bernadette a postcard saying the grandchild's been born and they've named her Joyce.
Lovely. How does Bernadette react to this?
Blasé.
She don't care. She's got a bigger fish to fry.
And then my other exit is Robbie.
Oh, I must say 2 not surprising ones.
Yeah. His exit was that his ex-wife comes back into his life after their son is involved in an accident. They get back together and he moves to India. He was married to. That's where he was living before.
They were in India before, weren't they? Yes.
So that's them.
It makes sense, to be honest with you.
And we've got to say, our rule that we gave each other is if we bring in a character, one character has to go to stay in budget.
Yes,
slightly.
One in, one out.
Yes.
The rule.
So I'm bringing in 2 new characters who are going to move into Ted's flat. They're 2 elderly widows called Cynthia and Polly.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
They're aged between sort of 70, 85-ish. And they're old friends. They've got history on the square. One's more upper class, one's more working class, but they've been friends for years. They're going to be light comic relief characters. And they're both going to fancy Patrick and flirt with him for a bit. But it's just a bit of fun between both of them. They don't actually fancy him. So it's just a bit of comedy.
May I suggest that those characters would be sisters rather than just friends? They could be sisters and both widowed. Yeah,
but one of them's a bit upper class and one of them's middle class. One of them married into a more rich.
Yeah, so they could still be sisters.
I mean, they both have history with Big Mo and they knew Pat and Peggy. And things. So
they're not ex-prozzies, are they?
No, but they've got ties to the square.
Yeah.
Linda Carter's mum passes away suddenly.
Oh, right, okay,
and this is going to bring on Linda's bulimia storyline, which has seemed to be forgotten from a few years ago.
We did forget about that, didn't we? It was after the rape, wasn't it?
Yes, so the stress of the past year, everything that's been on the past year, and now her mum's passed, we're going to have a bulimia storyline with Linda.
Oh.
I've got a storyline for Tina.
Oh, lovely.
So Tina and Sonia get back together.
Oh,
they're moving into Dot's house together.
I don't think they work together. I have to say this.
You wait.
I've been on board so far.
Dot still doesn't accept them, and Tina thinks it's because they're gay, but it's in fact because they're living together, not married.
For God's sake, stupid Dot.
So Tina proposes to Sonia, and they arrange to get married for the slow summer month. That's their wedding.
Let's have a lesbian wedding. Would it be on the square? Will it be festivities on the square?
Yeah. There'll be trumpets playing, and there'll be.
Oh, they have to have trumpets. You have to have a.
Robbie might come back for a guest appearance. Maybe.
I doubt he'd want to, because he's been axed once. If he axed the second time, I think his ego would make him... Even Dean Gaffney's ego wouldn't be big enough to return for a third time.
Right, this leads into another storyline, which leads to someone who's arriving. So we've got Kathy.
But we haven't had a death yet.
No, we haven't yet.
Oh, okay.
They all tie in.
Okay, good.
So I've given Kathy a storyline, because she never has a storyline.
Which is a running joke on our podcast.
And the show.
Yes.
So she is going to confirm her relationship with Masood.
Right, okay.
Which also is upsetting Ian at the same time. Still, he's still not happy. So Kathy's part of the storyline with Masood is that she moves in with Masood because Ian's angry with her, kicked her out, and he's actually sold the calf because it's still in his name because she faked her death.
All right.
behind her back. And a mystery person has bought the calf. We'll go into that in a minute.
Okay.
So yeah, she's living with Masood, and some of his off-screen family are sort of pressurising him into maybe convincing Kathy to become Muslim because they don't agree that they're together.
Right.
And Kathy's sort of a bit iffy, and Masood doesn't like this. So he announces to the family that they are converting, but he's decided to convert to Christian.
Ooh, that's going to cause a few complaints.
It is. But he's not actually going to do it. He's just doing it as like I'm going to show my family. But he doesn't actually go through with
He doesn't go...
No. I received some backlash from the fans during this.
This is like playing a game of like Sim City or something, like this made up backlash.
But all along, Masood wasn't actually going to do it. But you know how Masood likes to push his weight around and say, well, fine, I'll do the opposite of what you've asked.
He's a bit stubborn, isn't he?
So
stubborn,
that's a bit of storyline for both of them. But it's quite interesting because to begin with, Kathy does start looking into becoming Muslim and stuff. So I think that's something that's never really been covered on a soap. Like converting religion.
I'm not so sure.
Something new.
It's interesting. It's a shame, actually, in a funny way. It's a shame that they don't go through with it. I wouldn't mind that if you were executive producer. I would suggest
her actually changing religion.
Yeah, one or the other. I mean, it would be an interesting because it would really battle with Masood's, because his religious beliefs, although aren't the strongest.
Yeah, they're a bit strained. That's why. Yeah.
They're a bit strained, and so it would kind of the conflict he might have within himself if he actually does go far enough to actually do it. Does he love Kathy enough to go ahead? Yeah.
But I thought I wouldn't make it be Ashad and Miriam. I didn't want them to be the ones complaining. So it's like he always talks about family off screen, doesn't he? But butting in.
That's true. But Miriam does want him to find a nice Muslim woman.
That's true.
So she might have a few views on the matter.
Yeah. And I'm sure all the square will be looking at Kathy and judging her. So obviously Ian's still upset about this. He doesn't agree with any of it.
Because of course he is.
No. So he said, fine, I'm going to sell the cafe because it's still in my name since you faked your death. So that upsets Kathy. And there's been a new buyer. No one knows who it is.
Oh, it's a bit like when the Vic was
born. It is. And the grand opening of the cafe, the new sign is revealed. The cafe is called Deb's Caf.
Debbie? Not.
The new owner turns out to be Debbie Wilkins, who is an original EastEnders character.
Oh my goodness. She's finally got that business she's asked for.
She is. She is now married, but the husband's took her surname.
Of course.
And they've had twins very late in life through IVF.
Okay. Wow, you've really built a story for her.
Oh, yeah. And she's gifting the cafe to her two kids to run as like a project.
How old are the kids then?
They're like 19, 20, 21. Okay. Yeah, and she's had them at later in life because she's a busy, modern working woman.
Of course she is.
And her husband's a bit like downtrodden, wet behind the ears, and she's like the top dog. And they're moving into Vincent and Kim's old house, which is like the big posh
number
house.
One, the posh house, the well-to-do house. Okay.
And Debbie, she wants to start up the female darts team again. And she wants to be part of the community again, straight in there.
Yeah, get stuck in.
So her team on the darts team is Sharon, Linda, Debbie, Kat, and Denise.
Are they going to wear those pink coats?
Oh, yeah,
those pink jackets? Yeah.
The two elder characters who I introduced earlier.
Yes, which I said should be sisters.
Yeah, possibly sisters. They want to join in as well, but Debbie's not having them because they're too old and they're not with it.
Oh, Debbie,
so
Debbie.
They start a rival darts team.
Oh my goodness.
And in their team is Big Mo, Kathy and Dot.
Okay.
So they're a rival team. So
why is Kathy being mixed in?
Because she's that age group. I know. She is. She's 70.
I feel a bit sorry for Kathy.
I know.
Swamped.
But there was no other older characters, so that's all I could do.
No, okay.
So that's just a bit of a comic relief storyline.
With a
bit of rivalry between the old birds and...
The old birds. That's what should be their team name. The old birds. Lovely.
So I'm announcing another controversial exit now. This is after summer, the winter season, autumn.
Yes, this is when the big stories happen.
And Dot gets the news that she hasn't got long to live. So Sonia and Tina become her carer in her home. And then for Dot's last episode where she dies, we'll have some characters return, like her son Charlie and Carol Jackson. Some old faces come just to say goodbye. And Sonia's the last to see Dot.
Yeah,
Dot asks for one last cigarette.
of course.
And Sonia gives it to her. Sonia says, do you want me to read out one of your favourite prayers?
Ugh.
And Dot says in one of her last moments something along the lines of, oh, Sonia, no, I never really believed in any of that. But Sonia puts that down as when people
Psychosis.
are dying, they say things they don't really mean.
Yeah.
But I just thought, little hint at possible, maybe Dot didn't believe, but maybe she did believe.
Kept up the
Yeah,
present.
it was like a moment of confusion, what Sonia drops it down to. And yeah, Dot passes away and she leaves the house to Sonia and Tina because they were her final carers. Robbie's been axed. So Robbie's not there.
Oh.
And Tina and Sonia, they have a storyline now.
All right.
They decide to turn the house into a halfway home for women of domestic abuse to come and stay in between things. And a few months down the line, once it's been up and running, Tosh appears at the door and she's been abused.
The lovely Rebecca Scroggs.
Yes.
I'd love her to come back.
So she is coming back and it sort of toys with Tina whether she should let her in and help her or forgive her or not, because what she did to her is happening to her. And that could be a 3-parter between Sonia, Tosh and Tina.
Also, Tina still has feelings for Tosh.
Oh, she's not sure whether she should forgive Tosh and give her help because Tosh did the same to Tina. And now Tosh is being abused by her partner. So she's come to the halfway house.
Also, the tables have turned. I mean, when we did the interview with Rebecca Scroggs about her character Tosh, she said herself they didn't really investigate the abuse storyline enough for her liking, really, because she thought there could be more to it.
There was no sort of end. So I thought I'd bring her back and making it. So would she only be almost a temporary in there for a month or so? And then just like a few episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I thought the halfway house would be a good opportunity for some guest characters to appear. And also gives Tina a purpose.
Lots of old characters who've been
not
abused.
old characters, just guest characters.
Like characters who can come in.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
I like that.
There's my ideas.
I like the halfway idea, the halfway house idea. I just worry that you're almost doing the same storyline on repeat if you just keep having the same characters coming in. But it would be interesting if they did that with also maybe a male abuse as well, a male who's been abused.
So yeah, controversial decisions to kill off Dot.
I mean, yes.
And I got a bit of backlash from my storyline for religion.
I mean, you had lots of little not little storylines, but there was no real
big ones. No whodunits, no murders.
So you're
I was just building back up all the characters.
Yeah, you're on shaky ground. You felt like you're on shaky ground. You weren't.
Polly and Cynthia are just there for comic relief.
Polly and Cynthia, I really like. Actually, I do. I love that idea because we've said before that there is no kind of observational characters anymore. Characters that kind of sit not from afar. They're involved with the whole plots that are going around, but they're like almost the conversation that we're having. So almost like if we're Polly and Cynthia, and they're saying what we're thinking, what the audience is thinking. Well, they don't really have characters like that in EastEnders anymore.
I did toy with the idea of one of them being Karen's mum. Karen Taylor's mum, maybe, upstairs.
So has she mentioned her mum?
She's phoned her.
She's phoned her.
But she's never seen her.
So they're on good terms. It's not like she'd be coming in and it'd be like a big fiery storyline.
But some elder characters. Darts team. Debbie's back.
I love Debbie being back. But it's I love Debbie. I love Debbie's character. She's just she's like a roller coaster of emotion. Would she be a much more another confident woman on the square then?
Yes, and her husband's downtrodden and pushed upon.
Because they could be nice if they had like a trio of power, as I'd call it, with Sharon, Mel, and Debbie. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Three businesswomen.
Yes, working together. Maybe they could take over the square, start buying up businesses, becoming the new Wilmot Browns.
Yeah, possibly.
The new Brownings.
I wanted to bring an original character back, and
oh, absolutely.
Debbie stood out.
Were you not tempted to bring back Punk Mary?
Oh yeah, I could. Yeah.
I mean, I thought I haven't done that. I thought it was a bit obvious bringing back Punk Mary. I love her, but I just think I thought it was a bit obvious.
I try to give storylines to people that haven't had much recently. So I haven't axed too many.
No, you haven't. You've been very generous, actually.
Oh dear.
I know. Prepare for my axing, my guillotine to drop.
I did ask Bonnie Langford to come back, but she declined. She said she wasn't ready.
You obviously weren't very good at the talks, were you?
No.
Did you take her out to dinner, or did you just do it over the phone?
Fish and chips.
You didn't shell out for the tartar sauce.
I just ran backstage at one of her plays and asked her. No, she declined. She wasn't ready to come back as Carmel yet. So
talking about Carmel, I was toying. This isn't one of my ideas, but when I was doing it, were you toying with an idea for Kush?
No, I forgot about Kush actually.
I was toying with an idea of him getting like that terminal illness he had, killing him.
Oh yeah, the lungs.
I know.
Can't kill Kush.
Well, it would mean that all the Kasimis are gone.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So I that's why I decided against it.
That'd be sad.
For my first idea, the first thing that struck me was there's not enough locations on the square.
Oh, a new business.
You need a new business, a new place to
Deb's
go.
Cafe.
Well, it's an existing business, but I wanted them to reopen an old restaurant or a bar because the Argy Bargy's not being used at the moment, is it?
Not for ages.
There's the salon that's not being used anymore, and there's obviously the Albert that's not being used anymore. You don't have to open all of them, but I think it's nice to expand. In fact, in my mind, I would like them to expand to a place that fictitiously is outside of the square. So a club or a pub that's like the cafe, the second cafe,
secret cafe.
It's the secret cafe because it's quite nice when they do because that means that things are happening away from.
It's not all in one
one place. I know soaps. They're
like how they used to use Wolford Towers as like an off location.
Yeah, so it's a location where so they could get up to more secret dealings or more dodgy rendezvous, other than just the second cafe. Even the second cafe is well known by the residents now, so there should be like this. Like a little bar or just a space where there's like maybe a new park or something. I don't know. Just a little space where they can go. So that would be as an executive producer, that would be my first. Bricks and mortar would be my first idea. And then we're going on to carry on to the storylines. So I want to expand the Masood and Ahmeds.
Really?
Yes, I want to bring back Saeed with his daughter Yasmin.
Oh, yes.
So Yasmin would be about 12, 13 by now. And Amira, who obviously he had Yasmin with, had remarried, but her husband rejected their daughter as it was out of wedlock. So he tried to, live as a unit. To accept it, but he couldn't.
So she'll have like slight abandonment issues.
Exactly. But then Amira will break up with her husband and then come back to live on the square, so she's closer to Yasmin. So then we've got Saeed and Amira back. And I know Amira's not technically part of the family, but it'd be nice. There's a connection there, so there's a unit there.
And the aunt and uncle are still there, and Masood are all still there.
But there's always going to be the question mark about Christian. Now, I couldn't make my mind up whether I wanted Christian back or not. I kind of like the idea that Saeed and Christian aren't together anymore, which is a bit sad. But I wanted a gay character in the soap who can date and
who's single.
Yeah, single and ready to mingle, ready to go on a bit of grinder. So as of present, I'm not bringing Christian back.
Okay, they've broken up.
Not that I don't like Christian.
Christian's with Jane in a flat.
Well, funny you should mention Jane. Because Jane, it's about time I think Jane comes back. But I will only bring her back with the following storyline. This is my big storyline. So this is going to basically take the whole time I'm the executive producer.
Oh, so it's like about
2-3 years.
2-3 years build up.
Okay, and you might be surprised who's the central of the character. So after not getting custody of baby Abby, Max becomes a little bit of a serial killer and terrorizes the square. So he kills off Cora. So Cora's done. So
Cora comes back as like a...
No, not necessarily comes back.
Okay.
He goes to her house, perhaps. They could do it on location. And he basically is like, took my baby away. What are you doing, Cora? And
is his first kill like accidental and then he...
Kind of, that's right. So he's angry at Cora. There's a bit of a tussle and then he kind of knocks her. Denise's, I really love that murder. Denise's boyfriend.
In the shed.
In the shed, and the fork went into her neck. I want a murder like that. That's the kind of murder I want. The gorier, the better.
Like a slightly accidental, but yeah.
Accidental, but I don't want them to just knock their head on the side of a table or they fell down some stairs. No, I want proper blades in bodies. So that's the...
So you've got rid of one of the matriarchs to maybe matriarch's Cora.
That's right, and get ready for the second one. Because when Cora's died, custody kind of goes almost to default to Max. But before that happens, Rainie's obviously with Max because they're, inverted commas, married. Rainie walks in, sees Max standing over Cora's body. Bye-bye, Rainie.
Oh, you're going to kill Rainie as well?
Rainie's gone too. So that's, I know.
Oh,
so,
so really are getting rid of the Brannings. And
two big
crosses.
Two big characters, but not huge characters, which is how we should start things off, I feel. So Rainey and Cora are done for. He gets away with it, obviously, and finally gets custody of baby Abby. Right, so things are kind of trundling along now. And he restarts his relationship with Fee Browning.
Oh,
so
good.
Fee Browning comes
She's back.
Yeah. So 2 out, 1 in.
Lisa Faulkner.
Yes, we love Lisa. So while that's happened, obviously I've gotten rid of 2. 1's back already. I'm going to start bringing back some characters, and I'm going to start bringing back Candice Taylor. So I'm going to bring her back in as a main character.
Right.
Not necessarily, I'll give her a 6-month contract just to make sure maybe it might not work, but she'll be introduced at the same time.
Make sure she works as a full-time character.
Exactly. Now, I am going to bring back then a whole load of characters, so the budget's just going to fly. But there are going to be people who could potentially go in their place. So, and don't forget, at this point, Ray has probably his storyline's ended, so he's gone too.
Okay.
So Ray's out too.
But Mel's still going.
Mel's, why not?
She's still there.
She'll bubble along. So Jane's returned by this point. So after the 2 murders by Max, Jane's returned, and she tells Ian everything about what Max has done. And Ian's like, "Oh, I want to go to the police." And Jane's like, "No, they won't believe us." So Ian's like, "I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get custody of baby Abby. Technically, she's one of my family too."
Yeah. His grandfather.
Yeah, this winds Max up no end. And Max is like, "Oh no, what are you doing?" And so there's lots of anger toward the Bills and threats. Bobby's back by now. Who's about 16 with Jane, and Cindy Bill's back by now.
Cindy Bill Jr.
Cindy Bill Jr. Now this
elder.
Now this is going to basically build up to
the Bills.
Basically, the Bills and the Brannings having this big fight. Fee Browning discovers one way or another, because she already knows what Max has done, what Jane knows.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know about the murders. But Fee eventually finds out about the murders and confides in Jack. Jack then goes to Max and says, "You're an idiot. What have you done?" Max then kills Jack. Mac
his
kills
brother.
Jack. Yep, he kills his own brother. Frightened, he runs away, but then everyone's like, "Phew, thank goodness for that." He leaves baby Abby there as well. So then baby Abby is then with the Bills.
With Ian.
Yeah, everyone's forgot about Max. About 6 months, I reckon. Up to 6 months' time, you see like a shadow kind of wandering around the square, and Max basically somehow takes all of the Bills hostage. Maybe the Bills have gone on holiday somewhere. Maybe they're in like a cabin in the middle of nowhere. And Max is basically terrorizing them.
So that's Jane, Ian,
Cindy,
Bobby,
and baby Abby.
Baby Abby.
And it's like a whole week of episodes where there's like they're trapped and they can't get away, and there's lots of stories in between. So one of them almost gets away but doesn't quite get there. Max has got a gun and he shoots one of them in the leg. Like really tense, really extreme, and then it all ends with a fire in the cabin. And basically, the following week, you don't know who gets out until you find out that everyone has escaped but Max.
Oh.
And finally, Max gets his comeuppance.
Are you going to show a shot like a week before of like one body bag, and you don't know who's in the body bag?
Yeah, and it'd be Max. Max is
So that's
done.
all the Brannings gone.
Oh no.
And the crosses.
Yeah.
The crosses and Tanya's still alive, and Lauren.
Lauren.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Lauren would need. I don't think Lauren should come back.
No.
Personally,
she's with Peter. Peter's not back.
She's not with Peter. She's with. Oh no, she's not with anyone.
I don't know. It's your show.
But no, she's not with Peter. Because again, Peter was someone I thought, should I bring him back to make the Bills a big fan, so it makes it really... But then I thought Peter's a bit too... Peter could easily stand up to Max. Well, Jane, Ian... I'd also considered Jane dying in the fire too.
Not Bobby killing Max.
No,
Bobby's had his
day, yeah. But I thought that would be... Yeah, so that's my big storyline. And as I said, there's been a few murders, so there needs to be a few introductions. But the only other departure that I wanted was that Mick and Linda left only for a year, but then that would introduce a new bar manager to the Queen Vic. So anyone who's upset that Mick and Linda don't own the Queen Vic anymore won't be, because they do still own the Queen Vic, but it's being run by another family, so then they can be introduced. So then there'll be like a whole new family in the Vic, but
so there'll be brand new characters.
So brand new characters, yeah.
It's funny none of us brought back Janine.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe because we know Kate's going to do that.
Possibly.
So-
I thought Janine was... I wanted a big murder storyline. I wanted...
I
that's
can
what
tell.
I wanted. Yes. I wanted this big, huge storyline, because that's what EastEnders badly needs.
What happens to Amy and Ricky if Jack's dead? They sent off to live with Sam? or does Amy will live with Phil, maybe?
Funnily enough, I never really thought about Amy.
Maybe Amy would live with Phil, and Ricky would, because that's Sam.
Or they could go with his other daughter in Paris.
Oh, yeah.
They could look
But they're not really related at all.
No.
Because Sam's Ricky's mum, and Phil, I guess they go to Phil, because he's related to Roxy and he's related to Sam, so... Sharon can have 2 kids and that'll send her into a drinking storyline.
I mean, there would be lots of little storylines too, but I would...
Yeah, we didn't have time to do all of them.
Exactly. I couldn't do a lot of the in between storylines. But
No storylines for the Slaters either. We both missed the Slaters.
I think the Slaters
Don't know what to do with them, really.
They're really hard to
They're
do.
tough.
Again, I wanted to bring back Little Mo, but I didn't really see that there's anything you could do with that. I mean... The only thing you could do is if we were to tie it in with your story, Little Mo could work or help at the halfway house.
She could offer advice.
She could.
To set it up.
Possibly. The Slater, with little stories, I find little stories really difficult to write. In my head, I can only think of the really stupid, over-the-top, big...
So you're
stories.
an over-the-top executive producer.
Yeah.
Like, all thrills.
Yeah.
No substance.
How dare you?
And mine was more... community orientated, I would say.
Yours was, but also I think with yours, I must say I liked yours because yours was building up to something, while mine was just bang. This is what's happening.
Mine's a slow burner.
Yours are more slow burning, while mine's more instant.
I was toying with the idea of giving Bernadette a storyline of when she had the postcard about getting the baby, that Ted's had a grandchild, that she then has that storyline where she wants a child again. When she was first introduced.
Yeah, no, that'd be nice.
And I was going to do like a dark storyline of how online, if you don't have a partner, you can have like sperm donors, but like on the real cheap, and like a weird dark storyline where she tries to get pregnant that way.
Oh, turkey-based herself.
Yeah, but like there is men that offer it on like Facebook for like £10 and stuff.
What, if they're sperm or actually sex?
That you choose. You can either do artificial or natural. And the men can sometimes, when they turn up at the house, they can suddenly change and say, no, I want to do it natural. Like, I don't know, like a dark story like that for Bernadette,
I like
where
that.
she gets a bit in trouble.
Yeah. I know, I like that storyline. Oh, yeah, give Bernie... Again, I would love to give Bernie and Tiff a storyline, because I rate them
Well, Tiff's got a big one at the moment, so...
She has. But it's nice when younger characters, because younger characters can be relatable to... Yeah.
And we both missed out the Foxes as well. Kim, Denise.
Yeah. No,
Patrick's got a bit of flirting in mind.
He has with the sisters or potential sisters.
But yeah.
It's
funny, isn't it?
Yeah, I potentially see Denise and Kush going. I know. I don't like the idea, but I do. I don't.
He has ruined it himself.
He's ruined it himself, and also I just can't see there's much more to them.
No.
Kim, on the other hand, that's something else. Yeah, I want to bring Vincent back. Bring back Vince.
That would be after all the next storyline.
Well,
that's the storyline you'll lead in for the new producer to come in.
That's right, Vincent and Kim.
Set it all up for them.
Yeah, I think it'll be actually. Yeah. That'd be nice. That'd be a nice end. See, another thing is, I would like you kill Dot. I would like to have, if I was the executive producer, or I am the executive producer, I would love to have a
big goodbye.
A big goodbye. Yeah. I think the Vincent.
You're running out of characters now, though. So
like legacy ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I got rid of the Brantings.
That's true.
So I'm quite pleased with that.
You'll be hated. You'll be fired by the BBC.
No, I don't think I will. I think it's a really good way of...
The BBC will say, you've blown our budget and you've killed all the...
You're doing all these murders on location. All these big stunts.
Go to Hollyoaks.
Yeah.
It's very Hollyoaks, yours is, actually.
Yeah, I suppose. It is over the top. I admit, I put my hands up. It is over the top.
But that's fun sometimes.
But sometimes you have to go to the extreme to then, curb yourself in a little bit to get the full story.
Well, there you go. That's our wish list. So we'll see what Kate does.
Yes.
See if she's listening, she's going to pick up on any of these. So if anyone else has predictions of what they want to do as executive producer, let us know. We'd like to hear everyone's theories, and maybe we could read them out as part of an extra episode.
Absolutely. You know the normal routes. It's Twitter @EastEnders Week, Instagram @EastEnders Weekly Podcast. You can find us on Facebook and groups and pages. You can email us eastendersweekly@gmail.com.
Yeah. Give us a full, like what we did, like a year's worth of storylines that you'd like to see, and maybe we could do an extra what fans want.
So,
yes, that's it. So we'll see what happens.
Take care.
Get to work, Kate Oates.